is regarding the sci-fi short Two Lone Robots, or yeah, Two Lone Robots. Um, so this was great. I really loved, the robots themselves were really well done. And I liked the colors of the robots. The yellow and the red really were brilliant colors and stood out. And just the whole location, the different camera shots were really great. I loved when the robots did the little race that they did. That was funny to me and cute. And the concept of the battery cycles and what are they going to do now? Like, there's no humans around. It just made me feel like, we as humans are so willing, or at least some of us humans are willing to get rid of humans in the workforce and create robots to do things and create more robots in the future to take over. But then what happens when the humans are dying out and no one's there to recharge the robots? That's how it felt to me. Kind of, a message like that. And it was interesting. And these robots almost had emotions too. It's like they didn't want to die. They didn't want to be alone, which I thought was cool. There was one part, I think, right before the race. Yeah, because they were getting into the racer stance when the hands of the robot were on the concrete. I really liked that shot. That stood out to me. Just a lot of great stuff about this. I liked it a lot. And I kind of want to see more and what happened before this. Maybe a prequel. So good job, you guys.
All right, I've just finished watching Two Lone Robots, which I thought was a very good piece. It was very beautifully made. I enjoyed this sort of visual construct of the robots, the setting in particular. It was sort of in between of sort of hyper realistic and animation. It was really sort of fascinating to watch them play out. And I thought that not having dialogue, excuse me, but using subtitles actually created more personality for the robots in a way. It allowed you to connect with the story and allowed you to sort of be immersed in the central conceit. And I thought that the piece had a sense of humor that was an undercurrent throughout the narrative that you'd be surprised that it would be present, but when it was present, it was quite well done and sort of self-aware and cheeky in terms of the initial setup and the entire conceit of the piece. So I enjoyed Two Lone Robots. I thought it was very strong visual experience as well as sort of a thoughtful and humorous adventure, and I ended up enjoying it because I felt like there was a very cohesive and a big picture approach to what they were trying to execute, and ended up allowing for a very easy and accessible piece that was sort of very simple to get into and follow along and become like immersed in. So I ended up thinking it was pretty well done.
Lone Robots was very effective, I think. There's no spoken dialogue. It's all beeps. So one, shout out to the sound design, first thing. Um, but also that's good writing, I feel like. You created two characters that I care deeply about that speak very differently from each other, where you can in their word choice and in the dialogue writing, in the writing, you can hear the difference between the two characters. Like if you covered their names, you tell the vibe, kind of get the vibe of the two characters, and you got me invested in a relationship, and that's really the kind of the core of any good story, at least, is like what people always say, like character relationships um and getting the audience to care and invest and watching those relationships change and grow. So yeah, I thought it was very effective. Good job.
Two Lone Robots. Two Lone Robots is a fascinating sci-fi short. There is a fantastic production value. I mean, the graphic design, the visual effects are absolutely amazing. The robots really, really, really look real. And I like the conflict between the two, between red and yellow, especially, yellow that doesn't want to be left alone, and red that says that she the robot only has a few hours left, or maybe just a few days. And then they go for a run and they find a gun, and then they point the gun, but the gun doesn't work. I think it was very, very symbolic, a symbolic moment between two robots that they just want to stay together, then they want to be separated, but something is about to happen and there's nothing they can do about it. And then it ends with this beautiful final scene on the roof. I think It was absolutely moving, emotional, very well done, very well performed, excellent graphic, as I said, very good plot, and overall a great direction and cinematography. I really, really enjoyed the film, and I think it was a stunning production. Congratulations.
Melancholic is the best word I can use to describe Two Lone Robots. Um, for Two Machines, it definitely dives in head first into concepts such as mortality. Um, in what I presume to be a post-apocalyptic world, these two robots are basically looking for the last of humanity. However, they're the last two that are left, but they don't want to believe they're the last two that are left, and one of them's about to die. Um, it's a very dark concept, and also one of the biggest things that was of note for me was their the CG. It took me a second to realize that it was CG, but what I think they did was they had CG models in front of real world footage. At least that's what I'm assuming it was. But it was very impressive because for a hot minute I didn't even realize that's what they were doing. All in all, it was very impressive, and I definitely enjoyed it.
Two Lone Robots. Well, I really enjoyed this piece. These two robots that seem to be the last communicating creatures in an earthly crisis that has left them on their own. The opening of being at the top of the building as a lookout and the overgrown greenery that's come to the top of the building, we know that there is nothing left for these two. The sophisticated sound and of the movement of their mechanics, I loved that. They were so realistic. I don't know if they were animated or animatronic, but it was just beautifully done. I love the factor that they had humor. They wanted to have fun, so there's some sort of human influence for sure on that. And they want to fulfill their purpose, just like, humans do. Just a good little story and fun to watch. And just really well done.
So I just finished watching Two Lone Robots. I really enjoyed this piece. I thought it was really, really cool. I loved the vibe and the aesthetic of it. Really, really solid VFX work, I thought. I love the use of color and the sound design to go along with the VFX. I thought the filmmakers managed to achieve a lot of expression and emotion in the faces and the bodies and the body language of these robots. It all just worked really, really well. In particular, I thought the landscape and the environment work in this piece was pretty incredible. It looks super photoreal. It looked great. There's also some great storytelling here, very creative and economic in terms of its storytelling. I also appreciated how this film wasn't just VFX, but a marriage of VFX and story. Overall, I enjoyed this piece. I thought it was well made, and the filmmakers did a great job.